That's really frustrating. Did it announce? Twitter, please get. Alright. Well, it's up. Hopefully it stays up.
Yeah.
I guess nothing happened.
Yeah, was our audio still going through, or?
It will be when stream goes up. I mean, it's up right now, but... Oh, fuck. There's a 15-second delay. I guess nobody got killed.
Yeah, nothing really happened. Olaf came bot for a little bit. Blue side reacted pretty well to it. They had wards, so nothing really too much to say there.
Yeah.
Good on Alistar to get this aggressive ward in the red side jungle. A little dangerous, but didn't get punished too hard for it. So I think that's a really vital ward, and it's going to help a lot to watch out for those ganks.
So a couple of things that stand out to me here. Gragas is maxing Q. Not very normal. Most Gragas is max either W or they get like a couple of points and Q, then go W for clear. Or Q for clear, then go W. Gives you a lot of burst damage and it's a useful spell for sustain. Sivir's also maxing W before Q. I don't really understand that in any circumstance. Sivir's Q is really strong at level 9. But especially when you get that BF. Like if you have BF pickaxe level 9 Sivir, the Q max does so much damage.
Looking at the top lane really quick, I'm kind of surprised actually with how much Heimer has been pushing this this Yorick. Yorick actually has quite a bit of lead in CS right now. If you're gonna try and push the lane, force him under tower, make him lose that CS, obviously, but you gotta be able to CS on your own also. It's really too bad just how much you've missed right now.
Yorick is pretty good at tower CS, even if you push here, like, no matter what the circumstance, if you can hit the CS, you should be hitting it. You shouldn't just be playing plants versus zombies. Or towers versus zombies.
Yeah.
So we have LeBlanc. LeBlanc is starting to fall behind in CS here. She really wants to pay attention to Lux's flash and her ignite cooldown. If Lux doesn't have flash and she has ignite, she can kind of come back, but any gank like this, if Lux just shields, it's hard. As Lux, I would just go 2 points shield. I know you're winning, but like denying comeback mechanics is good too. If you're playing like a Riven or a Blanc, just making sure they don't make it back into the game is pretty important. This is really nice out of Olaf here, and you'll see that he cleared this with the Raptor ward and he's sitting here. Might be waiting for a counter gank or just a gank, but really well played by him. As LeBlanc, you really want to hold bind there. I mean, Lux. LeBlanc can kill you now. She has ignite. I don't know why she's not killing Lux. Like, W on top of Lux, E her, ignite her, and then just W back to Juke Olaf. It's really questionable. RIP.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think LeBlanc should have just tried to kill her. Lux went 2 Dorans though. Lux just needs to hold her skills against LeBlanc if LeBlanc can ever turn on her. So Olaf is going bot. Olaf really needs to get sweeper. But I'm not sure if this is the same Olaf or a different one. He has the he's maxing Q this game and not E, which is good. Heimer's going for Morellos first, that's not bad. I think most timers that I play with and against usually just stack like 2 or 3 Dorans early. I think you just really want to go for that lane phase. And getting health and being tanky is a pretty big deal on Heimerdinger, because the more they have to commit to kill you, the longer they're sitting on turret. So, I would just like to see a couple of Dorans and then like a different item. Maybe Morellos too, but 2 or 3 Dorans. The game is basically over now. The win condition is over for purple side. They still have a couple left. So anytime you have Sivir, Dragon is always a win condition. Basically, you want to establish vision control around Dragon, and then you take Scuttle, and you try and bait the other team into like contesting Dragon, and then your entire team is sitting on Scuttle and you just Sivir ult and you like mash them. So they can still do that. They just need to make a play. Even if you play an early game comp, you can come behind at 3-0. You just actually have to do something.
Yeah, we just saw, Sivir using the ult in lane in conjunction with the Alistar, just trying to go for the 2v2. Personally, with Sivir, I feel like the ult is utilized a lot better if a jungler comes and ganks for you. Especially with this Gragas, if he can get in a lot quicker, get a good ult off. Draven's flash is still down, so again, just watching those flash timers I think is really vital and could be doing a lot for this blue side bot right now.
Mm-hmm. This Gragas, I have no idea why he's top and when his Heimer's perma pushing. I mean, I guess he can try and dive, but diving a York that has enough mana for ult, I'm not really sure. Yeah, you just killed yourself. Rip. Good counter gank by Olaf. So both teams really need to be paying attention to bot lane. This Draven has 114 CS and 3,700 gold. If Draven gets to cash in, the game is 100% over for blue team. But we'll see. This Gragas needs to be ganking bot. I have no idea why he ganked top there.
Yeah, kind of like I was saying a little bit earlier, the Gragas I feel like has a lot better early game compared to that Olaf. I'm surprised he hasn't been kind of focusing more on the bot side, but he did focus mid a few times, but like you were saying, just with the Draven being, Draven.
Rip. You just have to camp Draven lane. I mean, there have been 2 games where Draven's jungler hasn't really paid attention to lane. And last game the other jungler paid attention to Draven, but this game Draven has 122 CS in BT. I like the BT buy here. Anytime on Draven where you're sitting on this many stacks, I like BT over IE because BT is a sweeto defensive item, and not dying to protect stacks is pretty important. As long as you cash in, you'll have enough damage. It doesn't matter that you want BT instead of IE. Olaf, I don't know why you're doing this on top of a tank. I know you're ahead, but this is really cocky. Alright, Draven cashed in. That's probably game. Yeah, he has 1,200 gold again. Maybe go triple Dorans into Rala into CDR on Heimer. As Heimer here, I would have gone 2 or 3 Dorans into Morelos. I thought about it for a second. I think you just need Morelos to deal with Yorick. You need more firepower and more mana. Being able to slow Yorick doesn't really do anything if you think about it. Interesting flash out of Olaf.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was going through LeBlanc's head there. I think just a little bit of comfort on the LeBlanc, knowing exactly how much damage you do at any given point in the game with the items you have.
Is that Stalker?
So I think she maybe thought she would do a little bit more damage, and she paid the price with the flash on that and almost dying.
So LeBlanc upgraded. I don't like the totem upgrade out of LeBlanc. So it's LeBlanc, if you lose lane really hard, you can come back by roaming. But you usually need Sweeper to roam mid lane. And you're not going to kill Athene's Barrier, Double Doran Lux. So Dragon out of red team too. York's coming back in CS too. I mean, I guess he's always been ahead. I like the build and bias out of Yorick this game too. And Janna and Draven. I actually like every build on red team. The only thing that's a little iffy to me is I would like to see Olaf have Mercury treads. He's playing a lot of AP and CC, but it's not a huge deal. You don't have to rush BC too. Black Cleaver is such an awkward power spike because it's such an expensive item in the mid game for a jungle. You could even go tier 1 boots or tier 2 boots Hex Drinker here as Olaf.
I don't know if you were watching that team fight, or the dragon fight just now, blue team actually did get it. There was a early smite by the Olaf, and the Gragas barrel just sat under dragon, and he was actually able to steal the dragon with his barrel. I actually had to rewind just to check that out again, but I mean, yeah, just kind of simple, just saving the smite till the end. It shows exactly how much damage it does now, so combining a little bit of your team's burst damage with that smite, that shouldn't, I don't think it should have been gone to the blue side, but I mean, good job on the Gragas for that.
No, it shouldn't have. Alright. So Lux killed LeBlanc roaming. That's not good. This Lux had bind. So Lux, like, lead your binds forward. I don't know why you throw a bind behind Alstart there. So anything else? These games have all been stomps. Jaden should go back soon, get his next thing and group and win. He can stay in lane, in all honesty. He has no pressure to like push if he doesn't want to push. And no, there are no target bans anymore. I can hear a Nintendo game in the background. So All-Star and Silver are pushing here. I'm gonna make a note on their vision. Really bad. And like Olaf is Mia. So I'm not
I was
sure
just gonna say they're pushing real hard into the tower, and I mean, just comparing wards, red side's got the blue side jungle warded up for the most part pretty well. And yeah, like you were just saying, blue side doesn't have any vision, so that's really dangerous.
That's good harass out of LeBlanc. She'd use ult for that, but if she goes on next ult cooldown with Ignite, she might be able to kill Lux. She probably doesn't have the damage, but she'll get barrier. So is LeBlanc like one of the most important things you can do when you fall behind is like try and stay in the game. You will get opportunities to come back most games, but if you don't have enough damage to do anything when you're given those opportunities, you'll get punished. And like the way you keep your damage up by when you're not getting kills is by last hitting. And I talked about it last game, but like especially mid and AD carry more than any other role. If you fall behind on CS, like doing your job is hard. Not only can you not kill lane, let's say you're bot lane and you have a chance to come back and get a kill, and you miss the kill by 100 damage. That's like you not having amplifying tomb or blasting rod because you missed too much CS. So good ult by Lux.
Yeah, pretty good overall for the red side there. Gragas came in through the side, paid for it. It was just his team wasn't able to follow up. Just a warning to the Olaf, you were pretty low on mana there if you did choose to go for that tower dive. So just making sure you have enough mana to do the axes. And yeah, that could have been a little bit dangerous, but you guys pulled through, so good work on that.
So, 2 notes. 1, Haunting Guys is not good on Gragas jungle, and you shouldn't ever buy it. Just build tanky items, he scales with health. 2, LeBlanc, you just missed a kill by 80 health. I basically just talked about that, but if your CS had been better and you'd had like even an extra amplifying tomb or blasting rod or Sork shoes, you would have killed Olaf there and maybe lived. But really goes to show how important last hitting can be. What else? I saw something else I was going to point out. Rip. Oh, Gragas. So, almost like 90% of the time you get the pink, the Cinderhulk here. Sometimes you need to know when to buy different jungle items though. So there's certain champions when you play against, they have certain interactions. Maybe someone you need to use skirmishers on to like kill an AD carry if you need to be the one diving on Gragas. And when you're playing against an Olaf, if you can get, or Hecarim, if you can get the Chilling Smite, usually buy it. The reasoning behind this is you use Chilling Smite when they use ultimate, and you get a ton of movement speed, and you also steal a lot of movement speed and make it harder for them to do their job. So, like, if you're playing against Olaf or Hecarim, you should probably have Chilling Smite and not Trailblazer. Is this game 2 or game 3? This is game 2. We will have a third game.
How do you feel about the Farsight orb purchase on Lux? I mean, I can kind of see it because obviously she's got the long range ult, but I feel like Greater Stealth Totem or maybe even the Oracles might have been a better choice. Any thoughts on that?
I think two blues isn't the worst thing in the world, and sometimes I see it, but I don't know. Like, the argument behind getting blues here is denying comeback mechanic, denying Sivir ult from bush, or getting cheesed because you can scout those bushes and not have to check with your E. But your E is also pretty good at checking, and you have 2 Dorans at Dean, so you can afford to spam to check bushes. So I would have gone Warding Totem here. One of the biggest things this Lux needs to work on is holding on to Q though. Like, a lot of times she throws that Q here and she could just randomly get cheesed, but she's not. Rip. So this is hard. We might balance the teams a little differently next game. I didn't see anything that stood out to me in Select, but maybe these guys are just having bad games. But remember, nobody's getting IP, or not much IP. Nobody's really getting LP or anything out of this. And everybody's going to get a similar amount of feedback. If you win really hard, it's difficult for me to give as much, but just think of it as a learning opportunity. And when you're losing here, I can certainly give you a lot to learn, or a lot to work on. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. So
yeah, looking really quick at the top lane, York's been taking a pretty strong lead now. He's up a lot of CS compared to this Heimer. Again, going into it, not a lane I was really familiar with. But good work on the Janna there. Just helping to secure that kill.
So the only note for Janna there, make sure you E probably before you W there. Wing isn't bad, but just making sure Yorick gets the E. 1, because he's tanking at tower and things might accidentally happen. And 2, Yorick spells scale with AD, so you're making his ghouls do more. I don't think it's a big thing, but I'm trying to give the winning team some things to work on as well. And if you just look at vision this game, blue team kind of has this side of jungle warded out, but they don't have a ton. Whereas red team has a lot of deep pinks. Which this is really what I want to see. When you're winning, I shouldn't see like your jungle warded out. I should see the other jungle warded out. And their jungle isn't like warded out, but the wards are aggressive, which is the purpose. So Janna's going Locket here. That's not bad.
Yeah, I'd say the Locket's probably a pretty good choice, you know. Blue side has a decent amount of ability power champs. I think it could definitely help. Definitely helps a little bit against the burst, against LeBlanc, so I think that's a pretty good buy.
I like it. I wouldn't even mind a banner here. Locket's good too, but sometimes like when you're winning really, really hard, just being able to pressure even harder is useful. And your next play is probably Baron contest, so banner bot lane. And when you have like Baron buff, Banner of Command is really strong, and you're probably gonna have Baron buff soon too. I don't like banner as an item, but Locket seems like overkill a little bit in this game. So Olaf is a strong counter to Gragas anyway. Olaf is best versus hard CC. I don't know, Gragas still, like, this isn't like a 1v1 jungle matchup to me. Gragas can gank pretty effectively early, and Flash Body Slam would have been really strong on a lot of lanes. I think he messed up his first 2v2 mid and didn't do a lot after that. But as Gragas in this matchup, it isn't like whether you're fighting Olaf or not. If you have a good early game and you get into some team fights and you ult like Draven and Lux out of position, you can do a lot this game. You can certainly be very effective. I don't know. Like, Olaf might be able to beat you in 1v1, but this game had nothing to do with, like, the junglers 1v1ing each other. So, what do we have for skill maxes? Nothing too out of the ordinary. I would say the only thing that really concerned me was the Sivir maxing W. Alright, so red team's getting another pick. And Sivir got a red pot. I don't really know about red pot when you're losing this hard. Maybe. So blue team, really important to make sure you're getting some wards. You just had 2 people die for no reason, like trying to check Baron. It's about to be 3. Blue team too, like one of the things you have to be really worried about here is your ability to check bushes. I don't think you have a champion that can check bushes well besides Sivir, and even Sivir Q is kind of like danger zone. So that was good out of Janna. Heimerdinger too, I really don't like the Liandry's build here. I don't think it does a lot. I think in the York matchup you should have like Sorks and Dorans or Void Staff or something like that. And especially Void Staff considering Janna's building Locket. So, what were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
We have a comment in chat about somebody getting ganked once, and Olaf got him ahead and every other lane lost, so I got 0 help, so he just snowballed. We'll talk about that after the game. I've seen a couple of games where you get ganked and then you just like lose the lane, but there are ways to come back when you get ganked. I think you falling behind here has a lot more to do with like not last hitting than getting ganked. Rylai's would have been awesome on Heimer, trying to slow them down when they're trying to get you. I think he needs like more tools to push Olaf out of lane though. Like Rylai's just isn't good against Olaf, which was I wasn't a fan of Rylai's early. And having extra health doesn't really matter because Olaf isn't gonna burst you. York isn't gonna burst you. He's gonna out sustain you. So I'm going to assume the game is going to end soon, since we have a lot of people active in Twitch chat. For those of you who haven't played before, or maybe those of you who have played before and are not paying attention to the rules, trying to keep the game spoiler free. Some people just watch Battle Arena for advice, maybe because they don't feel like playing or they're at work or something, and not knowing which team is going to win can keep the game entertaining. I know we're pretty confident which team is going to win this game, but just like general rule of thumb, keep the game spoiler free. But it looks like red team is winning. The important thing to take note of when you're sieging base like this is hit tab, make sure people aren't coming up, and check for home guards. Those are usually the 2 big things I look at.
Yeah, there's definitely been a good number of times just you don't check for the home guards, and obviously you can see red team getting pretty low right now. Obviously, if it wasn't as one-sided as this game, it's really dangerous to stay this late. If it's a much more even game, so I think in general it's a good thing to look for.
Alright, I like the Trinity out of Stalker too. I would have gone Trinity 2nd or 3rd here, but it's not a big deal. Alright, so win it or lose, everybody gets to take advice. So we'll kind of go over a couple of things each team can work on. And just give me 1 second and we'll get started with that. And I know this game wasn't close, but it's a learning experience, and I will give both teams an equal opportunity of things to work on. I actually did see a lot of mistakes out of the winning team. Probably less out of Yorick, because top lane was just kind of a farm fest for him, and like let his team win lanes. But he played well too, so. I just need to message somebody. Alright, so All-Star. Lane phase, you probably just need to eat her ass and go for a play at 2 on Draven. I would have just eaten her ass. Even if you lose 30% of your health, you can go for the Q flash trick and burn Draven's flash, and that'll make your jungle's job a lot easier. As far as build goes, I don't know about the Warden's Mail. I don't really know what else you could have built though. It is difficult. Let's look at wards first. That'll probably help me more with All-Star. So, wards, 4 pink, 22 placed, 2 cleared. The 2 cleared is iffy with how hard you guys were losing. I would like try and watch Janna if she's a Sightstone and just watch their team for greens and inventories and then sweep them. But that stands out to me. And just not playing the level 2 correctly against Draven is probably the biggest thing. Because you guys did get a gank or 2 bot, but Draven always had flash and he just free farmed. So, Gragas. Really don't like the Leandris on Gragas. Gragas jungle in its current form needs to build tank. Early game, I explained why I didn't like the 2v2 you went for, and that kind of put your mid lane behind. If you want an explanation of that, you can go to that in the game. When you're losing this badly, you really need Sweeper to clear out your own jungle and to do something. And you didn't buy a lot of green wards when you fell behind. You actually bought 0 green wards all game. That's not great. I don't know. Like, the warding totem's awesome, but you not buying green, it's before level 9, was, I don't know. When you die early in the jungle, you need to assume Olaf's going to be doing stuff in your jungle. So, vision control and build were probably the 2 biggest things. And you need to have a purpose every time you press R on Gragas. You can't just ult to explode people and scatter them. You need to be ulting somebody to reposition them. And you should be versed enough in using Gragas ult that you can put them where you want to put them. Alright, Sivir. Maxing W first is not good on Sivir. You need to max Q. I'm not sure about the elixir buy. And you guys let Draven stay in lane until 3,800 gold and you didn't abuse it. At some point you just have to put him in tower, and if he wants to stay in farm, just like say so be it, and then come back with BF sword and freeze on him and like bully him. But like, it comes as an AD carry, you're the one taking care of lane management and like minion position because your support's not touching creeps a lot. The ball really falls in your court when a Draven hits 115 CS like before backing, because that should never happen. Push in a tower, come back with a BF and freeze if Draven's just doing that. Heimerdinger, Leandri's buy wasn't great. If you play Heimer top, you should just be stacking Dorans, like 2 or 3 Dorans, and then probably going to Morellos. Then probably avoid staff once you see Janna going towards Locket. So that wants to be your build. Early game 2, this has happened in a lot of your games where you get ganked because you're kind of playing recklessly around the other jungle and you're pushing. So if you push, you need to get lane into tower and reset it. And you should try and reset it on like 2nd or 3rd wave around 3 minutes. You didn't. You just kept pushing and you got killed for it. Even if you don't reset it, let's say you get killed, you're so far behind every time you get killed because you're not last hitting effectively that like you can never come back. If you're down 20 CS and you get killed, there's like almost nothing you can do. But if you're pushing and you bully him and you're at 15 CS and you get killed, you're still even on gold. So like the biggest thing you need to work on is last hitting. LeBlanc, I kind of talked about it before the game. this is an awkward matchup. You really need to make sure you're last hitting effectively on LeBlanc. Sometimes you'll have games where you won't get kills in lane, but you being able to do your job is important. If you don't have the gold to do your job, you can't do your job. There's so many kills you miss by like, I don't know, 50 health or 100 health mid game, even though you're super far behind. And if you had like 30 or 40 more CS and like an extra amplifying tomb or a blasting rod instead of an amplifying tomb, you would have just killed them. Like, there's a specific Olaf kill where he got away with 50 health, and it's like, alright, if LeBlanc had 20 more CS and she had blasting rod instead of amplifying tomb, this Olaf died. So, you don't think about opportunities like that, but anytime you're playing a burst assassin or a burst mage or any mid lane mage or any character, if they get away with 50 health and you missed 50 CS that game, they probably should have died. That's just like you not having items. And if you want a good example of that, watch WAIE, it looks like Whale play. He's pretty strong at last hitting, and he's a good LeBlanc. So if you want LeBlanc advice, he'd probably be the person I would talk to. Do you see anything for Lux?
Yeah, so, you know, obviously a little one-sided, but like you were mentioning a few times in the game, just saving that Q, saving that stun for when it's really needed. Just, I think a little bit of work. I'm not sure how much you've played Lux, but kind of looking ahead, placing the, when you do throw your Qs, just placing ahead. There's a few times in the match where you kind of just threw at where they were, and it would have hit if they were standing still, but if, you know, obviously they're moving forward or backwards. So just being able to kind of predict where they're going to be is going to help you a lot. You had some really good ults throughout that game, which was really impressive. Yeah, during I just completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, that'll be it for now, I think.
Alright, so for Lux, biggest things, hold your bind. You need to be maxing W second against LeBlanc. Even if you like crap on her in lane, like having W second's a pretty big deal. She can still come back with ganks, and you living or dying by 100 health because you didn't max W is a pretty big deal. Everything else pretty good. I like the double thorns. I think the CS could have been a little better, but that kind of goes for everybody who plays in Battle Arena. The holding your bind. LeBlanc could have killed you a couple times if she knew what she was doing, and just maxing W second. Sometimes you stayed really low too, where you didn't have like wards on both sides of river, and you play against LeBlanc and you're at like risk of dying, like you don't have flash, you're staying low or something, just throw your E, throw your ult, and put her in tower and then recall. As far as wards went, Lux did a good job.
Yeah,
we'll actually go over red team's wards. So, only person who bought green wards on their team was Lux. That's actually really bad by Olaf and York. So, I understand York got warding totem, but it means no greens before level 9, which is bad. And Olaf, you need to have sweeper. You do have sweeper, so not buying greens is bad. Frown kind of carried you guys on vision. He wards a lot, so that's going to happen more often than it doesn't. But the green wards out of your team were really poor. Stalker, I didn't see a lot. You stayed a lot longer than you should, but they kind of let you stay a lot longer than you should, and you got a big CS lead, so that's good. I would go Trinity Force third here. I don't really see why you need Last Whisper when they have 0 armor items. Last Whisper's okay fourth because everybody gets armor per level, and Last Whisper's always good fourth. But like Trinity third kind of makes a little more sense to me. I don't know how much you had on item buy though. Like if you had enough for Last Whisper and you backed, Last Whisper's fine too. But you kind of just rolled, so I didn't pay too much attention. Just generally, you should be playing a lot more aggressively on Draven. When you have Janna, it's kind of your job to like try and 2v1 with shields and just stand in front of wave. Olaf, really need to upgrade your boots. Did a good job with maxing Q and getting glory this game. But don't be afraid to buy stuff like Hex Drinker too and upgrade boots. And just vision control is the biggest thing you need to work on. You had a lead on Gragas and you didn't buy any green wards. That means you never warded out his jungle. So that's kind of scary to me. A good Heimer build would have been Roa, Ionian Boots, Rylai's, Void Staff, Rabbit. No, as Heimer, you want to stack Dorans. You should be going for Morelos after Dorans, just for more lane pressure. Ionian boots aren't bad to hit that 40% CDR. I actually do see CDR boots, Morelos, Dorans on Heimer sometimes. But you need the Void Staff before Rallies in this game if Yorick is stacking MR and you see a banner or a locket being built. So, Janna, didn't see a lot. Build looks good. Lane looks good. I would have gotten captains or maybe the speed up thing. I think locket is like a hyper defensive thing you could have built. And you guys were winning so hard, I would have just like gone with the win harder item. But I'm not going to criticize somebody for playing safe because sometimes you need somebody in the team to play safe. When you go for dives, make sure you're getting shield off first just to get off cooldown. It's important if somebody like tanks the tower for 6 seconds, shielding immediately is important because you get the shield and then like they tank and then you get shield on the way out. But we have one more spot for game 3. There's a 15-second delay, but if you want in, check it out. So I think that's generally it. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask in chat. Not seeing a lot of questions tonight, but feel free to ask anything.